Hello friends, this is Mrityunjay Hariamat. Welcome to Data Communication online classes. Let's start with the first point of Module 4, Data Link Control. Data Link Control is the upper sublayer of Data Link layer, which provides a service between node-to-node communication. It deals with a procedure for communication between two adjacent nodes, no matter whether the link is dedicated or broadcast. Data link control function includes framing and flow and error control. Framing. The data is transferred from one node to another node in the form of bits. These bits are organized into frames so that each frame is distinguishable from another. Simple example is postal system that practices a type of framing. A simple act of inserting a letter into an envelope separates one piece of information from another. The envelope serves as an delimiter. In addition, each envelope defines the sender and receiver address, which is necessary since the postal system is many-to-many carrier facility. Framing in the data link layer separates a message from one source to destination by adding a sender address and a destination address. The destination address defines where the packet is to go, and sender address helps the recipient acknowledge the receipt. Although whole message could be packed into one frame, this is not normally done because if any errors, single bit error also, the whole frame needs to be resent. So it makes it difficult for flow and error control. Because of that, whole message is divided into small frames. A single bit error affected, only that small frame will be resent. These frames can be fixed size or variable size. Fixed size framing. Here boundaries are already defined based on the size. So receiver get to know where it starts and ends. The frames may be of 8-bit, 32-bit or 16 bits. Example is of ATM van, which uses frames of fixed size called cells. One more is variable size framing. Here sender needs to define start and end of the frame so that receiver can differentiate between the frames. Here there are two ways. One is character oriented approach and one more is bit oriented approach. Character oriented framing, which is also called as byte oriented framing. It has header, which is normally carries source and destination address and also a control information. Tailor part, which carries error detection redundant bit, usually cyclic redundancy check it will do, which is of 8 bits. To differentiate between the frames, at the start and end of frame, it will add a flag of 1 byte. That flag composed of protocol dependent special characters. The below figure shows the format of character oriented protocol. Character oriented framing was popular when only text exchanged by the data link layer, as flag includes special characters which was not present in text communication. When other type of information such as graphs, audios or videos transferred, that may includes any character used for the flag as a part of information. The receiver, when it encounters with the same pattern of data as of flag, it thinks it reaches end of the frame. To fix this problem, byte stuffing strategy was used. It is a special byte added to the data section of the frame and there is a character with the same pattern as of flag. This special character is called as escape character and it has predefined bit pattern. Whenever the receiver encounters the escape character, it removes it from the data section and treats it as a next character of a data. In figure, you can see the yellow part is end of and start of flag. In the blue color also, we can see the same pattern of flag present, but it is a data. So it is stuffed with escape character. So it differentiates end of frame. Character-oriented protocols present another problem in data communication. The universal coding system in use today, such as Unicode, have 16-bit or 32-bit characters that conflict with 8-bit characters. Bit-oriented framing. This is one more approach to represent start and end of the frame in variable size framing. So it also has flag of 8-bit pattern. It's of 0, 6 ones and 0 as a delimiter to define beginning and end of the frame. It has a header which includes source and destination address. Next, a data part, maybe a text, graphic, audio or video, and tailor for error control. The flag can create same problem which we saw in character oriented protocol. The flag pattern may appear in the data and the receiver may treat that it is end of the frame. So this problem can be solved using bit stuffing strategy. Here only a single bit is added to the data part to differentiate between the flag and the data part. In bit stuffing, if 0 and few consecutive 1 bits are encountered, an extra 0 is added. This extra stuffed bit is eventually removed from the data by the receiver. In diagram, you can see the flag at the start and end yellow color which shows start and end of the frame. Next is header part. The next in between is the data part. The 0 with pink color is stuffed 0. After 1 0 and few ones, we added extra 0. So this at the receiver will not treat it as a end of the frame. Data link controls one of the most important responsibilities, flow control and error control. Flow control refers to a set of procedures used to restrict the amount of data that the sender can send before waiting for acknowledgement. Take an example. One producer and one consumer is available. Producer is continuously pushing a data and consumer is consuming. In such one case, that consumer's buffer is full and data is overloaded. That data is overflowing. So that time producer needs to control the flow. Means it needs to stop or slow down the flow of frames so that consumer can consume all the data. So this is flow control example. So this problem can be solved using buffers at the sender side and receiver side. So that data initially stored, whenever there is an overflow at the receiver end, that will be also stored in a buffer. But situation will occur that the buffer may also full. So that time consumer needs to inform the producer stop pushing frames. So in that way the flow can be controlled. When data moved from source to destination, at the destination before sending to the network layer it should be verified, because whenever data sent it may be corrupted. So that error or corruption needs to be found out. So this can be verified by adding a extra bit or extra information in the sender side. So that is like CRC is added to the frame header by the sender. In the first method, if frame is corrupted, it is silently discarded. If it is not corrupted, packet is delivered to the network layer. And second method, frame is corrupted, it is silently discarded. If it is not corrupted, acknowledgement is sent to the source. So same, whenever acknowledgement is done, the flow control and error control can be informed from consumer to the producer. Data link control protocol can be either connectionless or connection oriented. Connection means it's not talking about a physical connection between the nodes. It's a connection between the frames. In connectionless protocol, frames are sent from one node to another node without any relationship. Here each frame is independent. Frames are not numbered and there is no sense of ordering. Most of the data link protocols of LANs are connectionless protocols. Connection oriented protocol. In this protocol, a logical connection should be first established between the nodes. The frames are related somehow. In this type of communication, frames are numbered and sent in order. If frames not received in order at the receiver end, receiver will wait until all the frames belonging to same type are received. It will rearrange and send to network layer. Connectionless protocols are rare in wired LANs, but somewhat we can see in point-to-point protocol, some wireless LANs and some WLANs. 4 protocols have been defined for data link layer to deal with flow and error control. The first two simple stop and wait protocols still are in use. Go back and select to repeat are not in use. Before I explain these protocols, first we will see how the behavior of data link layer protocol is explained in better way. Finite state machine is a machine with countable number of stages. Machine moves from one state to another stage only when event occurs. It is like kind of treasure hunt. In treasure hunt game, at a particular stage we will get a hint or a problem. When we resolve that hint, we will go to a next stage. So it will continue. Same here, at each stage one event will occur. When that event processed, it will go to the next stage. You can see an example in the diagram. At stage 1, the particular action will be performed. After performing that action completion, it will go to stage 2. At stage 2, when we perform an event 2, like action 3, it will go to the same stage. So it is a kind of a loop. And when we complete event 3, it will go to stage 1. So moving from one stage to another stage when event completes. This shows behavior of data link protocol. Simple protocol. This is a protocol where there is no flow control or error control. Here we treat or assume receiver can immediately handle any frame it receives. In figure you can see from network layer the datagram or a packet will send to data link layer, which converts into a frames and send to receiver node through logical link. At receiver end, it will decapsulate the packet and send to network layer. This is simple protocol. In below FSM finite state machine diagram, you can see at initial sending node, it is in ready state. Once the packet received from network layer, it will make a frame and it start sending. And receiving node, once the packet is received, it will decapsulate and send to network layer. So here receiver, without sending a acknowledgement to the sending node, it will just receive and send to network layer. And at the sender also, it will not wait for any acknowledgement from the receiving end. You can see here a flow diagram of a same simple protocol. It will show the communication between the two devices. It is always a one-way communication as sending is not waiting for the acknowledgement. You can see in diagram from network layer packet will be received at data link layer and it will be converted into frame and sent to receiving node. At the receiving node, data link layer packet will be converted, means frame will be converted into a packet and sent to network layer. Stop and wait protocol uses both flow and error control. Sender sends one frame at a time and waits for an acknowledgement from receiver before sending a next frame. When sender sends a frame, it starts timer. If an acknowledgement arrives within timer expires, the sender will send next frame. If time expires, sender resends the previous frame, assuming that frame was lost or corrupted. This means that sender needs to keep a copy of the frame when it sends at the first time until acknowledgement arrives. When a positive acknowledgement received from the receiver end, that copy will be discarded. To detect the corrupted frames, at the sending side, CRC bits will be added to frame. At the receiving end, if CRC is incorrect, the frame is corrupted. So it will be discarded. The silence of the receiver is a signal for sender that frame is corrupted. The mainly note is the only one frame and one acknowledgement can be in the channel at any time. So next we will see stop and wait protocol diagram. So this is a diagram shows stop and wait protocol. At sending node, you can see network layer will send a packet to a data link layer. At data link layer, the CRC bit will be added and sent to a receiving node. If packet received successfully, the positive acknowledgement will be sent. If packet corrupted or lost, at the sending node, if timer expires, again same frame will be sent. If positive acknowledgement received within timer expires, sending node will send next frame. This is a finite state machine diagram for stop and wait protocol. First, above diagram you can see at sending node, initially the sender will be at ready state. Packet will came from a network layer. It will convert into a frame, makes one copy and send the frame, and same time it will start a timer. Then sender will go to a blocked state. So it will wait for an acknowledgement. If timer expires at blocking state, it will resend a frame. If corrupted acknowledgement arrived, that time also it will resend a frame. If error-free acknowledgement arrived, you can see an arrow mark towards ready. So it will stop a timer, discard the saved frame and sends next frame. At the receiving node you can see first the corrupted frame arrived. If then it will just discard the frame. If error-free frame arrived, it will extract and deliver the packet to the network layer and sends a positive acknowledgement. You can see in corrupted state it will not send any acknowledgement because automatically sender will wait until time expires and again it will send the same frame. So any negative acknowledgement is not required from receiving node. This is the flow diagram. In the left side block legend you can see there are 3 timers. The dark blue shows start the timer, white you can see stop the timer, light blue it is a restart a timer, out timer. The first condition from sending node you can see network layer, we get a packet, it will be converted into a frame and sent to receiving node. The first case, the packet received successfully without any corruption and positive acknowledgement will be sent to sending node. Second case, the packet received at data link layer, frame sent, but it is lost in between. So sender waits until time expires. Time will expire as it is not received at the receiving end. The same frame will be resent. Second time it will received successfully and positive acknowledgement sent from the receiving node. Third case, frame sent from a data link layer, packet received successfully at the network layer of receiving node, and data link layer it will send an acknowledgement also, but it is lost in between. So sending waits until time expires, time will expire, it will resend the same frame. So receiving node will receive a duplicate packet, again it will send positive acknowledgement. This is flow diagram. Piggybacking. The 2 protocols we discussed, simple and stop and wait protocol, are designed for unidirectional communication. But in second diagram you can see a positive acknowledgement, but still it is a one direction as data is moving from only sending to receiving node. Protocols have been designed in the past to allow data to flow in both the direction. However, piggybacking helps both the direction sending the acknowledgement and data. When node A is sending a data to node B, node A also acknowledges the data received from node B. Because piggybacking makes communication at the data link layer more complicated, it is not a common practice. There are 2 types of connection between the node. One is point to point and one more is multi-point connection. The most common protocol used for point to point access is point to point protocol, which is also called byte oriented protocol. In today's world, most of the homes we can see a computer connected to internet. That computer connects to internet server using this point to point protocol. Majority use this traditional modems which are connected to internet through a telephone line, which provides the service of physical layer. But to control and manage the transfer of data, the most common point-to-point protocol is used in data link layer. Point-to-point protocol provides many services. First, it defines the format of the frame to be exchanged between the devices. It defines how device can negotiate the establishment of link and exchange of a data. It defines how the network layer data are encapsulated in the data link frame, as the data link layer receives the packet from the network layer and it encapsulates and sends to a receiving node. It defines how two devices can authenticate each other, as security is one of the important part in communication. So how they can negotiate and defines the authentication. Next, it provides the connections over multiple link. It provides network address configuration. Then what services point-to-point not provides? First, it will not provide a flow control. It provides very simple mechanism for error control. It does not provide a sophisticated address mechanism to handle frames in a multi-point configuration. Framing. Point-to-point protocol uses character-oriented frame. It means frame is of variable size. So to differentiate between the two frames, at the start and end of frame, flag needs to be added. So flag is of 1 byte and it is of fixed pattern 1 0 6 ones and 0. Address field, it is set to 8 ones as it is broadcast address. Control field is set to a constant value, as point-to-point protocol does not provide any flow control. And error control is also limited to error detection. Protocol field, it defines what is being carried in payload, that is data field, either user data or any other information. It is of 2 bytes. Payload field, this defines what is exactly a data, means information which is carried. And FCS, the frame check sequence, it is simply a 2 byte or a 4 byte standard CRC, cyclic redundancy check bits. Point-to-point protocol connection goes through different phases to transfer a data between the nodes, which can be shown using a transition phase diagram, which follows a finite state machine format. This is transition phase diagram for point-to-point protocol connection. The diagram starts with a dead state. In this state, there is no active carrier and the line is quiet. When one of the two nodes starts a communication, connection goes into a established state. In this state, option is open for both the nodes to negotiate authentication is required or not. At initial state, they will go for authentication. Otherwise, they will start direct communication. Several packets may be exchanged at this state. Data transfer takes place in the open state. When connection reaches open state, the exchange of data packets can be started. The connection remains in this state until one of the endpoints wants to terminate the connection. In this case, the system goes into terminate state. The system remains in this state until the carrier is dropped, which moves the system to dead state again.